guys. Happy Writing Challenge Day 6. Hope you're doing well, having fun. Today I wanted to talk about a particular routine and technique I use for focus. I have found in working on a big project like a book, and maybe you have found with a dissertation, a movie script, also a book, any large project, that it can be hard to hold the entirety of the project at one time, but then also to focus on the minutia and the details. And it's often I'm trying to balance the two, keeping the massive project in mind, also the timeline, all the other things that need to be done to get ready to specifically publish a book, but also working on a dissertation, on a movie script, all those other steps that come with it that sometimes you're working on during the project, but then also how to sit down with the nitty-gritty and work on word choice and work on dialogue and work on character development. As I mentioned before, every morning I like to journal. And sometimes this is just an opportunity for me to get out what I need to get out before I sit down to write. And other times it's a very specific practice. And I try and have the specific practice every morning when I journal regardless, because it only takes maybe 5 minutes. Maybe it leads into something longer. What I do is that the night before, I will write down what I title on a fresh page, very top, night question. And it'll be some kind of question that I'll have based on that day. Either I had a really hard time working on one particular character in a scene, or I'm not exactly sure of how the flow is going to go, in terms of kind of discoveries or conflict resolution or the major arc of the story. Or I'm wondering, word choice, how do I describe things differently so that I'm not using words all the time? And sometimes my questions are very specific like that. I had a really hard time working on that today, and by the end of the day I feel like, I just want to rip out my hair and I want to solve this problem. And other times the question might be bigger picture. It might be, how would it feel if I let go of my preconceived notions of what this book is going to be? Or even today, it was had a little bit of thematic interconnectedness with other areas of my life, and we'll get into that tomorrow. But I was wondering, I've been reading a lot of young adult fiction, and it's been really compelling for me. And so my night question last night was, how is reading young adult fiction informing certain areas of my book that maybe wouldn't have been informed in this particular way if I hadn't been choosing this genre to read? So got the night question, top of the page. And then in the morning, I will categorize a couple of spaces down, morning answer, and let it flow based on that night question. And what I find that's really unique about this process is that your brain continues to think about and work on those problems, those scenarios, those questions that you pose, even when you're not thinking about it. It's how scientists recommend doing flashcard memorization before bed, because your subconscious mind continues to process that information. I find the same happens with this night question, morning answer routine, that I'm able to get into other areas of intuition and thought processes that I'm not able to access on the day when I feel frustrated and stuck in this position. And then by the time I get to the morning answer, I'm usually pretty surprised by the answers that I have, or the resolutions that come to me, and the intuition that allows me to then approach that day with a bit more confidence and conviction and focus that, right, now I've got an idea for how I want to work on describing scenery differently. This is what I want to do. This is going to be my process. And then I can kind of go with it, point and shoot. I would recommend that you give this a try. Try writing out a night question. Use it, set aside at least 5 minutes each morning to work on your morning answer, and I think that you'll be surprised by what comes up. It also allows for just a little bit of clarity and a little bit of focus each and every day, as opposed to where am I going? What are my different goals? What's my different timeline? There's a lot to try and keep together, and when you get down to needing to just work on the details, or even working on larger picture, it can help to have just that one question that's focused in. And then over the course of a week, you've worked through 7 different things in relation to your creative project. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you have any other routines or habits that are similar that you've found to be really helpful. This is one in particular that I learned actually from a podcast, and now I can't even remember who the guest was on the Tim Ferriss show, but I found it to be excuse me, wildly successful in helping me orient and focus and tackle problems, because there's a lot to try and keep in your head, especially if you are creating a world that doesn't exist. Even if you are relating a world that does exist, your own story, it's crafting a story takes a lot of care, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of time feeling like you're floundering, you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes I feel like I don't even know what my night question will be. But I think what I'm always surprised by is that every time I sit down to work on something, something always comes up. Even if I have to have a little bit of throat clearing in the beginning, getting rid of some of the clutter that's in the way, something always comes up, and I feel like I can trust that I'm always moving in the right direction, even if I don't always know what that direction is, and I don't always know how to get started. This is a great way to start your day as a creative. Fantastic. Enjoy your writing challenge day 6, and I look forward to checking in tomorrow for day 7. Chat later, friends.